Hi, so welcome to the live stream today. Really excited for having you on the live stream as we, bring up some updates that you need to know about going into the November 2024 ICA examination, being the first examination date, and that there's no syllabus from that will be running from November 2024 to uh, 2029. And we want to give you some updates and then share some thoughts with you. And most importantly, also answer any questions that you may be having. And so, if there are any questions you have, something you want to pick my brain on quickly, you can put it in the comment section in the chat for me. Really want to be excited to share some thought with you as we get ourselves into the discussion for the day. And also, if there are anything you want me to share my thought on, being questions, being key issues that you would want us to look at, or topics or subjects or questions you want us to solve, you can throw all of that in the comment section or the chat box. I'll be excited to answer your questions for you as we go through this discussion. Now, so one of the concerns and one of the key things you need to understand is that this is the first examination date under the no syllabus. And so November 2024 is the first examination date. And so the question that you need to ask yourself is, all right, how is the examination going to be? What are the things you're supposed to focus on? And how do you really position yourself to really pass the examination? As I say always, I don't think that you should fail the examination ever. I don't think that you should go into the exam hall and not knowing what you are supposed to do. I don't think you should sit for the exam over and over again if you are guided properly and you know exactly what you are expected to do. And so I want to share some tips with you today as we begin our live stream sessions and get ourselves excited for the November 2024 examination. Now, some people have idea that, okay, because this is the first examination date, the examination is going to be a little bit on the low side. But one thing you must understand is that the quality of the IC examination is getting better and better. And so this new syllabus is just going to be taking the examination to another level. What it means is that for you to be able to pass the examination, you have to be somebody who has really prepared for the examination. And so this is not going to be something that, hey, you can sit around, just walk into the exam hall and boom, you'll be able to pass the examination. No. If you want to pass the examination, then certainly you have to work hard for it. And so the quality of the ICA examination has reached that peak, has reached that level where you cannot just solve fast questions and go away. And so what should we be expecting? What should we be on the lookout for? What is it that this first examination is going to be like? Number one is that you must understand that, yes, although we are under the no syllabus, it is almost the same thing with just some few changes move around. And so if you are writing, say, financial reporting, it's still going to be your financial reporting that you know about. If you're writing public sector accounting and finance, with the exception of public procurement and public-private partnership arrangement no longer in the syllabus, it's going to be the same thing with the IPSAS coming in for 20 marks in the exam hall. If you are writing corporate reporting, it's the same thing that you know in corporate reporting that is going to be there with some new top-ups, some few IT issues that you need to understand. If you're in advanced audit and assurance, the same issues in advanced audit and assurance that you need to know about. And so how then do you position yourself to ensure that you go into the exam hall well prepared? A couple of strategies you must understand that I want to really share my thought with you this afternoon is, number one, as I say always, is for you to understand the material. Like you sit down to understand the structure of the syllabus and the materials included. And so for whatever subject that you are writing, it is important you go through the syllabus and understand each of the materials in the syllabus. So what subject are you writing? Maybe you're writing public sector accounting and finance. You have to understand everything in public sector accounting and finance. So understanding the material is very important. But you got to be careful. As you are covering the material, you need to be able to ask yourself, what will be the structure of the questions in the exam hall? Very important. Now, so how is the examiner going to be spreading around? What will be the structure of questions in the exam hall? Again, as I said earlier, we are not going to be having dramatic change in the structure of the questions, even under the no syllabus. And so the structure of the questions, for the most part, will be the same thing. So let me give you some examples. Let's say I am writing financial reporting. Okay. We still have consolidated financial statements in financial reporting. So your question 1 is still going to be on the consolidated financial statement, where you are dealing with consolidated statement of profit or loss and OCI and consolidated statement of financial position with a parent and subsidiary, or parent, subsidiary, and associate. It's there. Number 1, it's going to be there. Number 2 is going to be on the accounting standards. And so you need to be solid on your accounting standards, knowing the issues about IAS 16, IAS 40, IAS 33, IAS 10, IAS 20, IAS 23, IFRS 15, IFRS 9. Like, you got to know all of the accounting standards, because we're going to have dedicated question on the accounting standards, and then we're going to have single entity financial statement questions coming in, which is another 20 marks area on the accounting standards. Then suddenly evaluation of financial statement, how we calculate ratios, and then evaluate the performance and position of an entity, and certainly some theory issues on conceptual framework, on ethics, on consolidation, and some IFRS issues that we need to understand. And so what you need to know about is that the structure of the exam is literally the same. And so if you are studying, you need to ask yourself, okay, how is the examination going to be like? So this is why it goes back to what I keep on sharing. If you're a follower of my work, my message has been always the same. And the message is this: you need to sit down, prepare a study plan, discipline yourself to go through the study plan, and cover the syllabus thoroughly. It is not enough attending lectures. It's good to attend lectures. That's the best decision you can make. But it is not enough, because the lectures alone will not help you to really understand everything in the syllabus. And so you have to make time to sit by yourself and solve some questions on your own. And so that is where you need to prepare a study plan and follow that study plan thoroughly. Very important. You need to follow that study plan. Give me a sec. Sort of getting feedback here. Okay. So you need to sit down and prepare a study plan and follow it, because you have to understand the materials. Now, this is what you need to know about. You need to understand the materials, know the context of the questions that the examiner is going to be bringing. Then you need to expose yourself to questions, solving them under time. Stay with me carefully. You see, I've been in this game over a decade, and I have reached a point where there are a lot of things that I am realizing. One of the things that I am realizing is that, and I've seen, is spoken with people and having discussion with people, colleagues and others, is that many students fail the examination not because they don't know. They fail the exam because they were not able to answer questions as much as possible within the 3 hours. And so if I should give you 5 hours, if you were given 6 hours, you could have solved all the questions that came in the exam hall. But you have only 3 hours. And so by the time you realize the time is gone and you've not answered enough questions, that will help you to get the 50% required for you to pass the examination. And so one of the things then that you need to really understand is to ensure, give me a sec. And so one of the things that you need to really understand I don't know why sometimes people would want to just misbehave without brains in their head. Give me a moment. Let me delete and block this person. Okay. So you need to understand the content, because you see, as I was saying, you need to work with speed and accuracy in the exam hall. So there are many of you, probably you've written the exam before and you failed. Maybe you've written twice and you failed. Or maybe 3 times and you failed all. If you should sit down carefully and analyze your situation, you will realize that in the exam hall, you are not able to answer as many questions as possible. So by the time you realize, the time is gone. It is for this reason why you need to sit down, understand the materials, expose yourself to questions, and solve those questions under time. Listen carefully. You need to put yourself in a simulation under exam condition where consistently you try to work with speed and accuracy in everything that you are doing. And that is why I tell people this. If you should sit down, not learning, because you are busy, you are the president of the world, and you don't do anything, and then all of a sudden, a week to the exam, you want to attend some magical class somewhere, and you think with that you can pass the examination. As I say always, it's like you're smoking something and you're going to fail the exam. And for some of you, you've been doing this over the years and you are still not seeing any progress, but you are still doing it. And so really, if we going to be positioning ourselves to pass the examination, you need to be able to work yourself out over the remaining period we have as though you are in the exam hall. So whatever subject you are writing, maybe you're writing financial reporting. We know there will be standards there will be IFRSs in financial reporting. Okay. How many IFRSs do you know now? When I put an IFRS question before you and I said, this is a 5-mark question. A 5-mark question means that I am going to be using whatever, about 9 minutes to solve it. Can you do this question in 9 minutes? So it's not just about, yes, I understand the accounting standards, I understand consolidation, I understand ratios. Can you do the work within the time given? Because the examination is time bound. And I think this is something that many people have underrated, many people are not looking at. And so you are casually studying, you are casually solving questions, you are casually doing whatever you think you want to do, but you are not actively studying the way you are supposed to study. And when that happens, you are going to go and fail the examination. And so I really want to impress on you today. If there is anything that you really have to do, it's to sit down, understand the materials, number one. But beyond that, you have to expose yourself to questions. Not just solving questions casually, but you solve the questions under time. Then, before you register for the exam, You need to put yourself in a simulation. Okay, this is a 10-mark question. It means I need 18 minutes. If I put this question down and I set a stop clock for 18 minutes, am I able to do this? Because as I said, this is one of the key reasons that people fail the examination. Yes, people don't study. They wait 2 weeks for the exam, 3 days to the exam. That's where they start studying. That cannot help you to become a chartered accountant. That cannot help you to pass the examination. So really, I am impressing on you today that if you are going to sit for the exam, we need to fix this thing. Because the reason why this is important is that you need to expose yourself to that pressure. You need to expose yourself to that intensity where like you're under pressure, because you're going to face that in the exam hall. And the reason you have to study and solve questions also is that then you will know what the examiner is expecting of you. I spend time with my students over and over again, because one of the things we do here is assignments are given, performance evaluation tests are done, scripts are marked, students are held accountable. And sometimes, we've discussed these things in class. Then questions are given. Then people are doing things opposite what was asked. So total digression. People are writing things. You wonder, where the heck are they getting what they are writing from? Now, so this is the dilemma. In your head, you're going to say, yes, I answered the question. Yes, I did everything. But the results will come and boom, it doesn't go well. And that is something that we are really working on consistently with the students. And I always tell them, hey, listen, don't feel bad about it. Yeah, you are writing miserable English. Yeah, you feel embarrassed about it. But it's okay. That's the purpose of the process. So that you will know, okay, this I'm not supposed to do. That I am not supposed to do. I can do this. I cannot do this. I can say this. I cannot say that. That is how you position yourself to pass the examination. So, guys, study. It's important. Expose yourself to questions. It's important. But you need to put yourself in a simulation where you are solving the questions under time. Most importantly, you need to learn to answer the questions in the context of the question. It's very important. You need to answer the questions in the context of the questions. Because sometimes, I'm having discussion with my students. We've given assignment or we've done performance evaluation test. Then I'm marking the script. There are times I'm like, what the heck is this? People have written 2 pages, 3 pages, and all of it is nothing to write home about. You are like, really? Yeah. And if we don't prune you, if you don't put yourself under that environment where you are being pruned, you are being held accountable, where you are guided, where you are mentored, you wouldn't know you are missing out. You wouldn't know these are the mistakes you are committing, and you're going to carry that same thing into the exam hall. That is why you cannot sit down a week to the exam, 3 days to the exam, and take one miserable leave from your workplace like that. And as I say this always, many of you have been doing this. It's not working. You are not getting any progress, but you are still doing it. Listen, guys, the examination is now at its pinnacle, if I can say that. It's now at its best. The ICAG examination reward people who have truly studied. You cannot do Bawanka and go and pass the examination. You cannot do shabo revision or do one stupid revision like that and go to the exam hall and pass the examination. The ICA exam will reward people who have truly studied. So I really want to impress on you that if you are going to pass this examination, you need to work it out. You need to work it out. And I tell my students always, and some of them will own up to it. They are like, yo, Nhyira, I don't get time to study. It's now that I'm trying to study. This, my work, my wife, my husband, my children, my this, my that. And guess what I tell them? I say, hey, listen, I understand you have to go through this pressure, but nobody cares. Yeah, that's not a nice way. That's not a nice way a teacher should talk to the students, right? That's not a nice way, because if they are going through a lot, yeah, I'm supposed to empathize with them. I'm saying, yeah, I empathize with you, but that will not help you to pass the exam. The fact that you are busy, your wife, your children, your work, your this, your that, your this, your that will not make you to pass the exam. There is only one thing that will make you to pass the exam, is to sit down, study, expose yourself to questions, do assignments. That is the only way you pass the examination. Because nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody cares about your excuses. It is your excuses. Nobody cares. So I really want to share with you today, you can pass the examination, but you cannot pass it with the attitude you have. You cannot pass it with just lying around. You cannot pass it and telling yourself, I'm busy. My wife, my husband, my children, nobody cares. Yeah, we know you are the chief executive officer of your company. Yes, we know you are the CTO of your company. Yes, we know you have 17 children. Yes, we know you have to drive 2 hours from work to the house, from the house to the work. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. This is life. So you can sit down and complain, oh, look at my miserable life. Oh, I have to drive 3 hours from home to work, 5 hours from work back home. When I reach home, I am tired. How can I study? How can I do this? Nobody cares. That's life. Okay? Nobody cares. The ICA is not going to, the exam committee of the ICA is not going to sit down and say, oh, by the way, this semester, we're going to set 2 different questions. One set of questions will be for people who don't have anything doing in their life and they just want to study. Then we will set another question that will be for busy people so they can pass the exam. Or the exam committee will sit down and say, oh, we are going to set the question in such a way that, everybody can pass the exam. Nobody cares about you. It's one set of questions. You have 3 hours and it's done. So what do? What you have to do is to sit down, make time to study. In the midst of the busyness, in the midst of the difficult schedules, discipline yourself. I tell my students this. You don't need to sit down 2 hours to study. You can't get the 2 hours, we know. How about 15 minutes? How about 10 minutes? See, if every day you can have 30 minutes to solve a question, go through your notes, treat something, 30 minutes every day. 30 minutes every day. Then by the time that the exam gets closer, you are increasing that time. I can guarantee you can put yourself in the position to go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. That's the reality, bro. That's life. Okay? That is life. So I really want to share this with you. And the most important thing is solving questions under time, putting yourself in a simulation, because many of you are going to go into the exam hall. They will say start work. and you don't even know what the heck to do. Like, the question is before you. They've said start work, but you don't know. You don't even have an idea how to read the questions. Then you start doing something. By the time you realize, they say stop work. And you've answered only some miserable questions here and there. You know in your heart you are going to fail the exam, but you can't admit it in front of people. So how did the paper go? Oh, it went well. Results comes and you have bumped. Let's stop the pretense. Okay? You see, this life, you have to face life the way it is. ICA is not difficult. So when I hear people, oh, ICA examination is difficult, no matter what you do, you're going to fail. I'm like, bro, what the heck is wrong with you? Really? Somebody wrote the exam and passed. Somebody was an overall best student. What's wrong with your brain? It's your laziness. It's your excuses. It's your lack of holding yourself accountable. And I will tell you this. And that is why our community, it's different. Assignments are given, you don't do it. We are discussing that question, you're not joining the class. Performance evaluation test, you don't do it. We are discussing that, you're not joining the class. Because I am not interested in you just jumping on the class without doing anything, without putting yourself in simulation. And every time as we do these assignments, we do these performance evaluation tests, students are blown away with the level of errors they are committing and how their progress comes by as they see the errors and they know what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do. Listen, I want you to pass the exam. But the only way you can do this is if you discipline yourself, if you put yourself in a simulation. There are some of you, you're going to write the exam, we are in week 6, but you have not started any serious studying. Week 6, you've not started doing any serious studying. I don't know what the heck you are waiting for, but you've not started studying. You are waiting a week to the exam, 2 weeks to the exam, you're going to take leave. And you think you can bundle everything in 2 weeks. What are you doing to yourself? Why are you causing yourself so much pain? That is not the way to go. So I really want to impress on you this evening that if you're going to sit for the exam, you have to study. If you have written the exam before, you are in trouble. Listen carefully. If you wrote the exam and you failed and you are doing a resit, you are in trouble. Let me explain that to you very well in a plain language. You see, maybe you wrote the exam, you got 40. Or maybe you got 35. You are in trouble because if you're not careful, your brain is going to lie to you that, oh, last semester I wrote the exam, I got 40. It was left with only 10 to go. So your brain is going to lie to you that you need only 10 to pass. But in reality, you are starting from 0. So you don't need 10 to pass, number 1. Number 2, your brain is going to lie to you that, oh, last semester you attended lectures. Oh, last semester you wrote the exam. So you know the things already. That's a lie. Because if you knew the material, you wouldn't fail the exam. And so number 3, your brain is then going to tell you that, hey, Kukua, hey, Kwame, just relax. Relax. 2 weeks to the exam, a week to the exam, do some revision, attend one intervention class like that, and everything will be good. That is your brain lying to you. And if care is not taken, you're going to go into the exam hall in November. And you will get a mark that you will not be pleased with. Because I've had people who tell me that, oh, when I wrote the exam the first time, I got X marks. The second time, the marks dropped. That's your brain telling you you know already, but you didn't know anything. So if you are doing a resit, you are in trouble. You have to overcome that lie your brain is telling you that you know already. You have to overcome that lie that your brain is telling you that you only need 10 marks to pass the exam. You have to overcome that lie that, oh, 2 weeks to the exam, you can attend one intervention class like that and everything is okay. I tell students this. Intervention class is good, but it is for students who have been studying. Yeah. Intervention class is not for lazy people. No, it's not for people who sit down, they are not learning, they are not doing anything. You think a 6-hour class will magically bring everything in the syllabus together so you go and pass the exam? What are you smoking? Like, what's going on in your brain? So intervention classes are for people who have been studying. And those period, that 6-hour class, that 9-hour class, you are just being cleaned up. You are just putting on the final touches. But here you are, you've not been studying, and you think a 6-hour class can go through the entire syllabus for you so you pass the exam. Bro, why are you deceiving yourself? You've been doing that over the years. You are still not making any significant progress, and you are still doing it. Why? Why won't you change it? So I really want to impress on you today. And, this is the real thing you have to understand. I understand you are busy. I know you have to work. I know you don't close early from work. I know you have 17 children you are taking care of. I know you are a busy man. But my question is this. Do you want to become a chartered accountant? You answered yes, right? You want to be a chartered accountant. Nobody cares about the children, how many children you have. Nobody cares about the number of hours you have to work. Nobody cares about the time you close from work. Nobody cares about how long you have to travel from home to work and from work back home. Nobody cares. If you want to become a chartered accountant, you have to study. If you want to become a chartered accountant, you have to understand the structure of the questions. If you want to become a chartered accountant, you have to learn to work with speed and accuracy so that within that 3 hours, you can answer 4 or 4.5 questions accurately so you can pass the examination easily. If not, you are going to be telling yourself all these. And my father, my mother, my work, my distance, I don't close early from work. By the time you realize, everybody has passed by you. And some of you, your promotions are on the line. Some of you are full of bitterness because you are there. Then somebody comes and the person is a chartered accountant and they are now your superior and you have to report to them and you are literally the one doing all the work. And every time you are bitter, you are like, I do all the work. Nya, 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 nya. But you are not chartered. You continue to give yourself excuses. And so your promotion is hanging. People who you are supposed to be ahead of, career-wise, salary-wise, opportunities-wise, they are ahead of you. Why? Because they decided not to give excuses. Why? Because they decided to triumph over the excuses. Why? Because they decided to go the extra mile. But you decided not to. And this is what you need to understand. This is life. This is not your father's house or your mother's house. In your mother's house, you could be patted at the back. Oh, kukua, kakra kakra ebeye. Suma, it will be good. Your mother will sing for you. Oh, my daughter. Oh, my son. You dear, keep going. Keep it. Oh, small. Life is not your mother's house or your father's house. Life is reality. And there are criteria you have to meet. If you're not able to meet the criteria, you are thrown away. So if you get it like that, your perspective will change. So I want to challenge you this afternoon because you see, I was reading the March 2024, the July 2024 Chief Examiner's report. And we're going to be going through some of them from tomorrow. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Looking at what students are doing, what students are writing out, it's heartbreaking. You look at the question that the examiner has asked, and the things that students are writing, it doesn't make sense. Why? It's because of laziness. It's because of excuses. It's because people lack the tenacity, the capacity to hold themselves accountable. So I really want to impress on you this afternoon or this evening that you need to be serious about this thing. You need to be serious. When do you want to finish this? Let's go for it. How do you want to do this? Let's do it. What are you waiting for? Let's hit it as fast as possible. Because that is the only way you can excel and pass the examination. That's the only way. I tell my student this because, in our mobile application, the Nhyira Premium mobile application, you get access to all the content you need to pass the examination. And over the years, one of the complaints students have had was that, hey, Nhyira, data is expensive. So you know what we did? We made the videos downloadable. Okay. Then still excuses were coming in. And guess the excuses now? People were like, oh, Nhyira, the video is too long. You sit down for 3-hour video. It's too long. So you know what we did? We decided to break down all the videos into topical areas. So you go into our mobile application, the Nhyira Premium mobile application, every subject divided into the topical areas. So 10 minutes, 3 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, like breakdown like that. So whatever topic you want to study, you just go to the summary videos and watch them. And these videos are downloadable. What excuse do you have again? What excuse do you have again? You can download the videos. You can watch them over and over again. Everything is broken down into key topical areas. You are joining live lectures. What excuse do you have again? And guess the new excuse. Oh, Nhyira, sometimes you be watching the video and then, Nhyira, it's some way. Like, people don't know what's, like, sometimes I'm listening to my students and I'm like, I'm trying to, walk in their head and put myself in their position and find out whether what they are saying really makes sense. But I realize that what they are saying is just something they are making up. It's just something they are making up. So guys, I really want you to excel. Okay? Some of you, your New Year resolution this year was for you to become a chartered accountant. That was your New Year resolution. Some of you, your New Year resolution was you want to get that promotion. You want to take your life to the next level. But your life is still hanging in there because of this program, because of this course. And the year is coming to an end. You have one last chance to make that New Year resolution come to pass. Probably. Maybe if you are in the final level and you have maybe 2 or 3 papers to write, then that dream can be a reality. But if not, you could still make some progress. So I really want to impress on you this afternoon. You can pass the examination, but you have to sit down and study. That's all. Don't wait a week to the exam and think you will attend any intervention class and succeed. I can guarantee you, you will fail. Because the intervention class is not for people like you. Intervention class is for people who have been studying. So that intervention session is to clean them up, to show them the final touches, and boom, they go and pass the exam. But you have not been studying. You sat throughout the 12 weeks doing nothing. No open any books. You think a 6-hour class can do everything, give you everything in the syllabus so you can pass the exam? No. You will pay the money. You will think you are learning, but you get to the exam only to realize that you were just smoking something. So I need you to focus. I need you to dedicate. I need you to discipline yourself. I need you to sit down. Listen, don't make it difficult. 30 minutes every day. 30 minutes every day. If that means you reduce your sleep by 30 minutes, do it. If that means probably you stay away from socials for 30 minutes, do it. If that means for 30 minutes you don't have to do something else, do it. Because yes, you are busy, but you still have to take your life to the next level. I'm not the one to tell you how to live your life. But I just want you to know that since I am not the one to tell you how to live your life, you are also not the one to decide how the world should be run. So nobody cares about your excuses. That's the reality of life. Nobody cares about your excuses. Okay? Nobody cares. Whether you have 16 children, you drive 3 hours from work to house, nobody cares. You could have lived 30 minutes to your workplace. You decided to live far. Nobody cares. Oh, and my children, you could have decided not to give birth. You decided to give birth. Nobody cares. Oh, and at my work, every time I am traveling, nobody asked you to do all that. This is life. You have to do what must be done so that you can get what you need to get. And if you want to achieve something you have never achieved before, you have to be ready to do what you have never done before. So really this evening, I just want to impress on you hardly that you take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for this program that you're doing. Take responsibility for the things that you want to achieve. If not, by the time you realize, it's gone. It's gone. Because you see, this is the time you can do it. If not, I've seen people who come in and stop, go do something else. Yeah, several people. I've seen people who come in, they don't study, very lazy. They stop, go do their masters. Then they come back. And they are struggling. It is not about going to do your masters and coming back. It is you. You are lazy. You are your excuses. You don't want to take responsibility. And so there are people who are doing the ICA, then they stop. They go and do their masters. So they come and take exemption from management accounting and other subjects so that they can continue in level 3. But the problem is still in the level 3 because it is not that the exam is difficult. It is your laziness and your inability to hold yourself accountable. So I just want to impress on you today. This is the first examination date. It's not going to be cheap. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be, it's going to be standard. It's a standard examination. And the ICA examination has reached its pinnacle. And if you think you can solve some past questions and go to pass the examination, let me also say that you are going to fail the exam. Because solving the past questions is not the way to go. You need to expose yourself to questions outside the past questions. That's how you position yourself to pass the examination. And so for those of you who think you can solve from 1979 up to 2024 and go and pass the examination, you're smoking something. because the quality of the questions are getting better. And so you need to understand the principles and expose yourself to questions outside the ICA past questions. If you can take hold of yourself and take responsibility for your life and stop giving yourself excuses and blaming others, you will become successful. The bitterness will not solve the issue. Some of you are full of you are full of bitterness. Like you see people and you're bitter. And look at this person. Look at this small boy. I'm the one who is supposed to prepare accounts for this person, and he all he does is he signs. Yeah. Because you are lazy. Yeah. Because you refuse to take responsibility for your life. Yeah. Because you're always giving yourself excuses. So that is the consequences. If you don't like your life, change it. And you are one decision away from your changing the outcome of your life or the outlook of your life. So if your life sucks, it's your responsibility. It's not your wife. It's not your husband. It's not your boyfriend. It's not your girlfriend. It's not your mom. It's not your dad. It's not the government. It's not Adudi. It's not Bawizi. It's you. So you are one decision away from changing your life. So if you don't like the position you have right now, you don't like the money you are making right now, you don't like the salary they are paying you right now, and you know advancing yourself, doing this course, changing this will make your life become more advanced, why the heck are you still waiting? So that's what I want to impress on you this afternoon. Really to let you know about that the exam is going to be beautiful. It's going to be great. Are you prepared? Can you solve the questions? Can you work with speed and accuracy? We have only 3 hours. Within the 3 hours, can you answer at least 4 questions? Not answer 4 questions partially, but answering 4 questions accurately. At least. Can you? This is how you should be thinking. That is how you should be probing. That's how you should be strategizing. That's how you should be looking at things. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so easy. Any questions for me? I'm seeing some comments coming in. Any questions? Something you want to pick my brain on? Let's see if I can look, seeing some comments coming in here. Any questions for me? Real quick. Who is this? Nathan. Great Tuition Center. Oh, thank you, Nathan. Malia Torah said what? Good evening, sir. Yeah, good evening, Malia Torah. I hope I got your name right. Augustine said, good afternoon, senior lecturer. Good afternoon, Augustine. I hope you're doing well. So then, you do all. We will meet on 12th October. Okay. For your graduation, right? Congratulations. And all the best. You have been missed, Nhyira. You have given it in class. Oh, see this boy. Nathan. Okay. Oh. What else do we have? Sylvester said mentor. Okay. Thank you. Freeman Memena said following Nhyira. Okay. Thanks for following Memena. Yawasiedu said, how long do you have to finish the ICA course? I don't know what you are trying to say, but you register for the first time, you have about 10 years. Then you can register again, and then you get an extension. But the exams are written 3 times in a year. So even if you are starting from level 1, if you're a good student, you can finish within 2 years. Even if you're starting from level 1, because the exams are written 3 times in a year. March, July, and November, 3 times in a year. So even if you're starting from level 1, you can finish within 2 years. And if you're starting from level 2, it means you can finish within a year, which means you have your first degree and you are coming in with your first degree. So you get some exemptions from level 1 and level 2. First degree in accounting and finance, okay? If your first degree is something else other than accounting, then you are going to still start from level 1. But if you have first degree in accounting, then certainly you're going to be exempted from level 1 and 2 papers in level 2, in which case you can finish within a year. So I would say that we wouldn't put a timeline like that, boom, on it, because it's at your discretion. You can finish this as quick as possible or as soon as possible. Yeah. So that's what you need to understand. It can be done as early as possible. Exams are written 3 times in a year, so it all depends on you. It's all within your control in that case. Which slide is this? Okay, so that's it about that. That's it about that. Now, our enrollment is still ongoing. You are in week 6. If you think you can study for the November examination, fine. But this is my recommendation. Because it's one of the questions that I've been receiving, Nhyira. Can I start now? Can I start studying now to sit for the November examination? It depends. Okay, I always say that it depends. The reason why I say it depends is because we need to be realistic. What does that mean? If you are somebody who doesn't have a lot of things on your plate, meaning you don't have a lot of obligation, you don't have a lot of responsibilities, and you can make time to study, then you can prepare to go write the examination if you're a first timer, right? But if you're somebody who has a lot on your plate, there is a lot of things you have to do, and you don't see yourself to have a lot of free time to really study, then stop it. In November, registration will begin, and you can start studying from November. Live lectures will start in December, certainly after the election or whatever the heck. And then, you can sit for the exam in March 2024. So if you're a first timer and you're now contemplating to go sit for the exam, think about it carefully. Okay, think about it carefully before you pull the trigger. If you're somebody who is doing a resit, meaning that you've sat for the examination in the previous dates, maybe last semester or last 2 semesters, and you're going to do a resit, then I would say it's not too late. The reason is because you have some fundamentals available, and so if you can make the time available again to study, then certainly you can register to sit for an examination. But what you don't want to do is to say, oh, because I wrote the exam last semester or last 2 semesters, I'm going to wait and attend intervention class and I'm going to be good. The reality is that you're not going to be good. You're going to go fail the exam again. Yeah. It's not a curse. It's a reality, okay? Sometimes when I say some of these things, people are like, yeah, it's a reality, okay? You are not learning, and you think you can go and pass the examination. Why? You think this is what? We are sowing seed? Or you think we are drinking anointing oil here? No, bro. This is work. You are going to be marked based on what you wrote. So if you are not studying and you go and sit for the exam, you will fail. Simple. It's not a curse. It's reality. Because some of you are spiritual. You don't want to do the work. You think it's all about the spirit, the spirit, the spirit. No. When you finish the spirit, when you see praying, kabaying and kabaying, you finish speaking in tongues, you finish drinking the anointing oil, you have to sit down and read the book. You have to sit down and ask yourself, what is the initial recognition of inventory in accordance with IPSAS 12? You have to sit down to read how do we deal with events after the reporting period in accordance with IPSAS 14? In public sector, when you finish drinking the anointing, you have to come back to the book and ask yourself, how the heck do you prepare consolidated financial statement? So we need to be mindful of that. All right? Yeah, be spiritual, but use your brain and know that you have to learn the material. You won't drink anointing oil and the book will come into your head. It's not going to happen. So be realistic. Okay? Be realistic of the outcome. Because, I mean, in this part of the world, people assume spirituality for anything. There are people who think they are failing the ICAG examination because there's a spirit behind them. Really? You are a Christian. And you think there's a spirit behind you? Your great-grandfather in the village is doing you? Really? Ask yourself, have you been studying? Oh, Nhyira, I study a lot. Hey, Jai Wasem, you study a lot for where? Study a lot for where? When was the last time you studied? When you pick a book, are you able to study? Some of you pick the book, then you sit on your bed. You sit on your bed, then you are studying. You finish. You drive, you go home, you are tired. You won't even bath. Then you just go and eat banku and contombre stew and things. Then you won't bath, you won't brush your teeth. Then you go and sit on your bed. You pick a book, then you are learning. Who are you deceiving? Then by the time you get up around 5 a.m., you realize that you have slept on the book. Who are you deceiving? Eh? Oh, you people there, some of you there, it's no good cry. It's no good cry. So please, okay, let's take responsibility. Let's really take responsibility. You know, as I say always, sometimes people think I am ruthless, right? I don't empathize with people. But I'm like, no, I empathize with people a lot. But you see, empathy will not work for you. Somebody will not employ you because they are like, oh, you are weak, you are vulnerable, Debbie. That's not life. What is your qualification? What have you done in the past? What can you do for us? It's all about action. So if you can stop the excuses, guys, you can become successful, okay? Seeing some comments coming in. Let's see what I have here. Okay, Yao said, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure, Yao. What else do I have? Marian. Okay, giving me emoji in the chat. Okay, oh. Mercy Mupeta said, thank you. Always a pleasure. Mercy Mopeta. I hope I mentioned your name right. They didn't destroy your name. All right. So that's it about that. And going to be wrapping up around here today. Tomorrow I'm going to be on the stream with you guys. And we're going to be walking through the Chief Examiner's report tomorrow. And I'm going to be providing with some strategies on how you can study, okay? The topics you are supposed to focus on, how you can structure your study time and everything together as we go through the Chief Examiner's report, and give you some practical guidelines on what you have to do to position yourself to pass the examination. Because I believe that you can make a lot of changes if you are willing to be able to pass the examination. Okay? You can. So join me on the stream tomorrow. If there are any specific questions you have for me, also bring it on tomorrow as well. I'll be taking questions. So maybe there's an accounting standard you want to pick my brain on. There is something in auditing you want to pick my brain on. Whatever the heck it is, just hit me with it, and I'm going to be able to provide you with some answers tomorrow on the stream. So tomorrow is going to be Q&A, really, and I'm going to also walk through the Chief Examiner's report and provide you with some practical guidelines on the topics you have to focus on, how you need to structure yourself, and what you are supposed to expect generally as we go to the November 2024 examination. But our key takeaway is this: you got to study, expose yourself to questions, solve the questions under time so you can work with speed and accuracy. And all this can only be possible if you are ready to discipline yourself and stop all of the excuses. If you can stop the excuses, you can become successful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you same time tomorrow as we continue with our discussion.